Picture this. You're alone in a room so small the walls seem to breathe, pressing in with every shallow gasp you take. The air is stale, heavy with the scent of damp wood and regret. A single candle flickers on a rickety table, its flame trembling as if it knows it's about to die. You sit there, hunched over, your hands trembling, not from cold, but from something deeper, something that gnaws at your bones. It's pain, raw and unfiltered, a guest that's overstayed its welcome. It's the ache of a choice you can't unmake, a loss you can't reclaim, a wound you can't close. You want to scream it out, to banish it to the shadows, but it clings to you like a second skin. Here's the paradox that twists the knife. This pain, this relentless tormentor, might be the truest companion you'll ever have. Could it be? Could the thing that breaks you also be the thing that saves you? This isn't a hypothetical. It's your life, etched into every quiet moment you try to avoid. You feel it in the pit of your stomach when the day ends and the silence creeps in. The sting of a betrayal, the weight of a failure, the hollow echo of a dream that slipped through your fingers. You've spent years running from it, scrolling through screens, chasing distractions, plastering smiles over the cracks. But it's still there, waiting, patient as a predator. Fyodor Dostoevsky knew this beast well. In Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov doesn't just wrestle with guilt, he wrestles with suffering itself, a force that tears him apart and, in the end, stitches him back together. He calls it the suffering that purifies. But purification? That word feels like a taunt when you're drowning in it. How can pain, this jagged, ugly thing, become anything close to a friend? Let's start at the edge of the abyss. Why does pain feel so alive, so personal? Imagine it's not just a sensation, but a voice. One that whispers your name in the dark. One that knows every secret you've buried. Carl Jung would say it's the shadow, that hidden part of you where all the hurt and shame fester. You can't outrun it because it's you. Every scar, every regret, every flinch. Neuroscience backs this up. Pain isn't just physical. When you're rejected, when you fail, when you grieve, your brain lights up in the same places it does when you're stabbed or burned. The anterior cingulate cortex, the insula, screaming in unison. It's not a metaphor. Your body reads emotional wounds as real as any knife. And here's the kicker. The more you fight it, the louder it gets. Studies on chronic stress show that suppression, pushing pain down, floods your system with cortisol, tightens your chest, fogs your mind. You're not escaping, you're feeding it. But what if you stopped running? What if you turned around and stared it down? Picture this again. You're back in that cramped room, the candle spitting wax onto the table. The pain sits across from you, its face blurred, but its presence undeniable. You don't scream this time. You don't bolt. You just look at it, really look, and ask, what are you here to teach me? Dostoevsky would nod from the shadows. For Raskolnikov, suffering wasn't the end. It was the beginning. After murdering the pawnbroker, he doesn't find triumph. He finds torment, a torment that forces him to confront his own soul. It's not pretty, it's not quick, but it's real. The pain strips away the lies, the arrogance, the justifications, and leaves him naked, ready to be remade. Could that happen to you? Could your pain, this thing you hate, be a mirror showing you who you really are? Let's dig deeper. Why does pain stick around, refusing to be ignored? Schopenhauer would say it's the will, that blind, insatiable drive that fuels life itself. For him, existence is suffering, a cycle of want and lack that never ends. You're born into it, you live it, you die with it. Happiness? A fleeting pause between blows. But here's where he might surprise you. He didn't just curse pain, he saw it as inevitable, even necessary. Without it, you drift, numb, a ghost in your own skin. Pain keeps you awake, keeps you moving, keeps you human. Nietzsche takes it further, his voice a thunderclap. That which does not kill me makes me stronger. He didn't mean it as a platitude. He meant that suffering is the forge where you hammer out your will, your purpose, your defiance. Zarathustra dances with his wounds, not because they're... But let's not romanticize it yet. Pain isn't a noble teacher in a velvet robe. It's a brute, a thief, a storm that rips through your life without permission. Picture this. You're walking down a street, the world buzzing around you, and it hits. A memory, a pang, a sudden tightness in your throat. Maybe it's the anniversary of a loss, or the echo of a fight, or just the weight of being alive. You stumble, catch yourself, keep going. But it's there, trailing you like a stray dog you can't shake. Why can't you shake it? Because your brain is built for it. The amygdala, that ancient alarm bell, locks onto pain like a lifeline. It's how you survive predators, starvation, exile. Evolution doesn't care about your comfort, it cares about your survival. And pain? It's the signal that something's wrong, that something matters. You can't turn it off any more than you can turn off your heartbeat. So what happens when you lean into it? Picture this again. You're in that room, the candle down to a stub, the pain still sitting there. You don't just look at it now, you reach out. Your fingers brush its edges, cold and sharp, and you don't pull back. You ask, "Why are you here?" And it answers, not in words, but in flashes. The time you fell and no one picked you up. The time you spoke and no one listened. The time you broke and had to rebuild. Jung would call this shadow work, facing the parts of yourself you've locked away. It's not about fixing the pain, it's about hearing it. Viktor Frankl, who survived the unimaginable in Auschwitz, would agree. He said suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning, not when it ends, when it means something. For him, pain was a question. What will you do with me? Let's push this further. Why does pain feel like an enemy when it might be an ally? Society doesn't help. It's a machine built to sell you escape. Ads promise relief in a pill, a drink, a swipe. Culture whispers, hide it, numb it, move on. But what if that's the lie? What if running from pain is what keeps you weak? Dostoevsky saw this in Raskolnikov's fevered dreams. Every attempt to flee his guilt only tightened its grip. It's not until he confesses, not until he embraces the suffering, that he finds a sliver of peace. Neuroscience echoes this. Avoidance breeds anxiety. When you suppress pain, your brain doesn't let go. It replays it, amplifies it, turns it into a ghost that haunts your every step. But when you face it, something shifts. The prefrontal cortex kicks in, weaving a narrative, finding a thread. It's not gone, but it's yours. Now feel the urgency. This isn't abstract. You're living it. That pain in your chest, that knot in your gut, it's not just a burden, it's a call. Picture this. You're standing in a crowd, noise crashing around you, and it hits again. You could drown it in music, in work, in another drink. Or you could stop. You could listen. What's it saying? Maybe it's the grief you never mourned, the anger you never voiced, the fear you never named. Jung would say it's the unconscious knocking, demanding to be let in. Nietzsche would say it's the chaos you need to dance with. Frankl would say it's the meaning waiting to be born. But it's not easy. It's a fight. Bloody, messy, exhausting. And society? It's betting against you, flooding your feeds with distractions, your shelves with quick fixes. The cage is real, and it's tight. Real. Pain is what keeps you weak. Dostoevsky saw this in Raskolnikov's fevered dreams. Every attempt to flee his guilt only tightened its grip. It's not until he confesses, not until he embraces the suffering, that he finds a sliver of peace. Neuroscience echoes this. Avoidance breeds anxiety. When you suppress pain, your brain doesn't let go. It replays it, amplifies it, turns it into a ghost that haunts your every step. But when you face it, something shifts. The prefrontal cortex kicks in, weaving a narrative, finding a thread. It's not gone, but it's yours. Now feel the urgency. This isn't abstract. You're living it. That pain in your chest, that knot in your gut, it's not just a burden, it's a call. Picture this. You're standing in a crowd, noise crashing around you, and let's peel back another layer. Why does pain transform some and destroy others? Picture this. Two people sit in that same cramped room, the same candle flickering. One sees the pain as a monster, a thief of joy, and they crumble. The other sees it as a guide, a harsh but honest friend, and they rise. What's the difference? Dostoevsky might point to faith, not in God, but in something bigger than the self. Raskolnikov finds it in Sonia, in love, in the faint hope of redemption. Frankl found it in purpose, even in a death camp. Neuroscience offers a clue. Resilience isn't magic, it's neuroplasticity. When you face pain, your brain rewires, builds pathways, learns. The more you lean in, the stronger those pathways get. It's not about erasing the hurt, it's about growing around it like a tree around a wound. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't a fairy tale. Pain can break you. Picture this. You're in that room and the candle's out. The darkness is total, and the pain isn't a friend. It's a weight you can't lift. You've tried facing it, naming it, dancing with it, and it still wins. Schopenhauer would shrug. Life is suffering, and some loads are too heavy. Nietzsche might scoff. Not everyone has the will to overcome. And yet, Dostoevsky would argue there's still a spark. Even in Raskolnikov's lowest moment, chained in Siberia, there's a flicker of something, hope maybe, or just the stubborn refusal to die. Can you find that spark? Can you sit with the pain long enough to hear its quietest whisper? Let's stretch this out. What happens when pain becomes your companion? Picture this. You're walking now, not in that room, but through your life, and the pain walks beside you. It's not gone, it never will be. But it's different. It's not a shadow lurking. It's a presence, steady and familiar. You talk to it sometimes, ask it questions, let it answer in its slow, jagged way. It tells you about the time you lost everything and kept going. It reminds you of the strength you didn't know you had. It points to the cracks where light seeps in. Jung would call this individuation, the journey to wholeness through the dark. Frankl would call it meaning. Dostoevsky would call it salvation. You might just call it survival. And society? It doesn't get it. It wants you fixed, polished, productive. Pain doesn't fit the script. It's messy, slow, unprofitable. But what if that's its power? What if pain, this unwanted guest, is the one thing that keeps you real in a world of mass? Picture this. You're in a room full of people, all smiling, all perfect, and you feel it, that ache, that truth. They don't see it, but you do. It's yours, and it's alive, and it's honest. Huxley would warn, the world will try to numb it, to sell you soma in 1,000 forms. Nietzsche would demand, use it, wield it, become more. Dostoevsky would plead, let it save you. So where does this leave you? Back in that cramped room, the candle long dead, the pain still there. You could fight it, flee it, curse it, or you could sit with it, let it settle, let it speak. Can it be your friend? Not the kind that laughs